Morning, guys. I just want to share this video with you. One thing about living in the province, which I consider a small city slash province here in Dumaguete. We're up here in Valencia. I just woke up, very peaceful, slept, probably went to bed around 10, and now it's about 5:44, and it feels great. I'm energetic. I'm getting ready to go running. I went to use the restroom, which is right next door, right on that side of the wall. This is the key about having a peaceful sleep and staying in the province. This door. And then we're going to go right outside. Our shoes. Do you hear something? You hear that? You hear that? Here it comes. And there we go. You hear him singing? That goes on in the province every morning, every day. Sometimes these roosters don't wake up at 5:30 in the morning. They wake up at 4 in the morning. They wake up at 2 in the morning, 10 at night. I think some of these roosters, are messed up. They get their time zones incorrect. If you're living in a province, and when you come to Dumaguete, if you decide to settle here, and if you're not used to these roosters, and if you have very thin walls, you're gonna wake up at all times of the day, all times of the night. That is really critical when you pick a place to live. I made a video before. People were pretty upset and saying things like, well, if you don't like the noise, or if you don't like the rooster, go back to wherever you came from. Well, I'm not going to go back to where I come from. I'm just going to make sure that the walls in my apartment or my house is thick enough where you can't hear the roosters. That's all you have to do. Where you used to live, it didn't matter what time it was. It could be 24/7, and the rooster would go off whenever it wanted to. And we were able to block that where we live at the house, and that was one reason why I lived there. But the karaoke, well, you can't block that. I mean, they have that. They have those man-made sound. The 600-watt speakers or 1,000-watt speakers, and sometimes you get these guys that could sing, and you can tolerate it for a little bit. But boy, some of these singers, once they get a hold of a mic, they're not going to let it go, and they go on for hours and hours and hours, especially if they're going through some rough time with their boyfriend or girlfriend, or if they started drinking that night. And that was one thing that we couldn't stop, because it didn't matter how thick the walls were. You get those karaoke machines going. You might as well start putting earplugs or one of those Bose headphones. I actually have a couple of those. And it does work, but it's not the most comfortable thing when you're trying to sleep and then you're moving around in your bed there. But yeah, I just thought it was kind of interesting. I went to bed around 9 or 10, and I woke up and I looked at my watch. It was around 5:30, and decided to use the restroom. And while I'm using the restroom, I hear the rooster. They're not going to stop. It's 24/7. There's like a choir, like the rooster choir. I mean, one rooster hears one from one side of the road, and he'll hear it, and then he'll hear it, and he'll hear it, and it just goes back and forth. It doesn't stop. It doesn't. All right. I don't know why I want to talk about this morning, but I think it's important. My channel is all about informing foreigners or anyone that's coming to the province and they're not used to the sound. I remember staying in my great grandmother from my father's side. They're from Dublin, Georgia, near Montrose, and we would, as a kid, we would go there on spring break or Christmas, and all the family from all over the world, all over the country, or especially Georgia, would meet there. And they had a couple of roosters that would wake up in the morning around 5 or 6, and I would wake up, and then that was it. They didn't have a choir. They didn't go on and on and on and on and on. But the Philippine roosters, they're a little bit different, yeah. Especially if you stayed up late at night, and then if you come home and you're expecting a good night's rest, and you're home around midnight or 1 a.m. and you're trying to sleep, and then all of a sudden the rooster think it's 5:30 in the morning. Their time zone's a little messed up here, much as my time zone's messed up when I come here. You got to be ready for it. So I don't know what your solution is. If you plan on living here, just make sure, ask the question, are there, really you don't need to ask the question about rooster. Just assume that there's roosters everywhere. Just know that they're here. It doesn't matter, because people have it in their backyard. It doesn't matter where it is. It doesn't have to be in the province. People just like rooster, and they use it for fighting. Some people say it's illegal, some say it's not. They have coliseums, they have arenas, not coliseums, arenas that would fit maybe 4,000, 5,000 people. And then right up the hill, there's one up the hill, there's one down the hill, and whenever someone wants to start making bets with their rooster, I guess everybody hears about it. It doesn't have to be a weekend thing, and then they start fighting. So these people just raise roosters. There are rooster houses for sale. Some of the best food. They make these roosters strong. They're a special breed. You don't want to. And one thing I found out, you don't want to touch those roosters. If they don't bite you or go crazy on you, the owner would definitely take their anger out of you if you mess with those roosters. So don't mess with those roosters. Yeah, that's another thing. Once you're there and you're stuck, you're not going to be able to convince the owner to keep him quiet. You're stuck with it, or you have to move. Well, anyway, that's just something that you have to think about if you're planning on moving to the Philippines, and especially if you're going to the province. The roosters are everywhere, and when in Manila, they're there too. They're not as much as the province, but they're there too. You're not gonna get away from them. So buy your Bose quiet comfort headphones. I've used it many times when I'm traveling, but that would help until you could find another place to live, or another hotel, or another apartment. They're just everywhere. All right, let me get back inside the house, and once again, I'll show you. Once again, I'm gonna go into my room. You see how peaceful and quiet that is? That's heaven. That's heaven. That's peaceful and quiet. You can sleep until your body clock says it's time to wake up. Big difference. I don't know if you're going to be able to check that out, but I tell you, this is what you do. If you're looking at a new apartment, and if you're looking at staying at a certain hotel, hopefully the roosters are making noises outside, and you go to the room, you close the room, you close the door, see if you hear anything. If you don't hear anything, that's a good room, because you know that night or any time of the day you're going to be able to have a peace and quiet sleep. Yeah, that's a beautiful sunrise. It's probably about 75 degrees right now. I'm getting ready to go jogging, and oh, you can hear the rooster over there, right? And you can hear the rooster over here. You hear the rooster over here. You hear the rooster over here. And that's the front yard. So the backyard, I mean, they're everywhere. Anyway. Alright guys, it's been fun talking to you guys this morning, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you, and have a great day.